And here we go on the AM show. Time now for the news review. I'm joined by my brother from another mother, Fatumes.
That's what it is. Everyone.
Oh, my phone. Like back bear. I've said what I know.
That's the only ones, you know.
I can go on, but it's not. I'm limited. If you're an optician, you understand that. So
you mean that part is like a lot of
Guan P.
Oh, and now I understand that chairman, the NDC chairman. Because yesterday he gave a lot of background as to, you know, he's a tree.
Some of us have to do a lot of explaining.
Okay.
It's a battery there, mechanic ebube.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Agro, is that okay? Anyway. What's it? You say?
But you know, this month is the Ghana month, right?
It is.
So we should speak a lot of the Ghanaian languages. And so like this time, I come and sit here and say, Mmabahi. Na mama ba kwa ba mama JoyNews channel ezo wo wakishe ame wo kokomlemle wo Ghana. De kabla ma wo Ghana kemo kra bela ne. Akishe de mele de kamo ka kra erebela. Na mo wadi mo ekozro wo Ghana kishe wadi mo ekozro oyuade afanda yina oyuade de kabla onya. Na de bela ya hoboya mo. Ntuma ne ye wo Mazma besi yehra
in some baby
ngrata nunti yebehra mo ngrada so bekekere ya
in some baby okay so what on ya yebede hu
na some ton go bit TV na chingo be hu say ma do go for
how would people know? You know, I saw something interesting on social media. You were singing a song in a hunter.
Yeah.
I watched all of it. I loved it.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, there's this guy called Koba. I think is it Kobin or Koba. The song is that Mawonyamle wala ulo hlemane Mawonyamle wala ulo hlemane Mawonyamle wala ulo hlemane Nyamle wala ulo. So to it, I would share your word with the people.
God's word?
Yes.
Is that nyamle?
Nyamle, yes, that's God.
Because when I heard, you know, often there are variations.
Yeah.
So when I heard nyamle, I was thinking, is that nyamle?
Nyamane, yes. So God in our language is nyamane. We are in Zemes, they say nyamane. So I would sing about you to the people. God, I'll share your message with the world.
You know why oftentimes I love it when you speak a Hanta and all of that, and sometimes we spend a bit of time on it because that language is kind of nearing extinction.
Yeah.
The Ahanta language is nearing extinction. So we do this intentionally so that, I mean, people there was a time when, back when Justice Beidou had his report, you know, they were singing songs in the language and all of that, just to get the young generation, the young ones, to pick it up.
Yeah.
So the language doesn't go extinct. If you didn't know it, languages too go extinct.
And ours is on the verge of.
Very verge of extinct.
Yeah, so we are deliberately trying to get things to work in our favor. And I hope that we're able to get our kids to pick it up. And you see a lot of us now trying to get our children to pick the language up. So let's see how it goes.
Especially in Ghana month. What more fitting a month to, you know, push this agenda.
Exactly.
Anyway, let's get into the papers and what they have for us this morning. I have the Daily Graphic, the Daily Guide, and the Ghanaian Publisher. What do you have?
Okay, the Ghanaian Times, the Finder, and the Daily Statesman.
Okie doke. So let's get into it. I'll start with the Daily Graphic. Komende Dina Egwafo Ebrim, that is the KEEA, a constituency with myriad challenges. Use of Ghana card will sanitize voters' register, Majority Caucus asserts. Residents want the Commander Sugar Factory operational as soon as possible. As I share my blunt thoughts today on 66 years of Ghana's independence, the good, the bad, and the ugly, I've been looking at some of the good things because it's not all bad.
Oh, yeah.
There are good things that have happened, there are bad things, and there are ugly things that have also happened. And the good things, the problem is many of the good things we couldn't build upon, which is why we find ourselves where we are. Look at Nkrumah's industrialization drive, for example, the factories he built. Now, 60 how many years later, we start with 1D, 1F, and we can't even manage anything close to what he did back then. Those are the problems.
Anyway.
Flag bearership campaign launch, I'll scrap ex gratia. That's according to John Mahama. I'll be coming to you for your take on that. Special supplement on Independence Day inside. Let's look at this one. Former President John Dramani Mahama has promised to scrap the payment of ex gratia for Article 71 office holders if he wins the 2024 presidential election. He said the necessary constitutional steps to stop the payments will start in 2025 if given the nod to become president again. Quote, the payment of ex gratia to members of the executive under Article 71 will be scrapped. The necessary constitutional steps to take on this will start in earnest in 2025. We'll also persuade members of the other arms of government to accept same, he said. He said this when he launched his campaign to become the flag bearer of the NDC. He also said he was aware of the enormity of the task to fix the economy, but he was ready to take over affairs to perform that task. He said there had been difficult years, stating that it had never been his wish that his political opponents fail. The former president added that he was not happy that President Akufo-Addo and his government had failed to deliver. And maybe finally, the convener of the John Mahama campaign, Professor Joshua Alabi, said Mr. Mahama had proved himself as a nation builder and a leader of integrity over the years. What do you make of what Mahama is saying? Because listening to him yesterday, he was saying basically that, look, give me the nod, I'll scrap ex gratia, at least from the standpoint of the executive, and I'll speak to, or I'll plead with the other arms of government, aka the legislature, over which he would have some control if he wins and if his party, gets the majority. And then maybe a tricky bit, the judiciary, And here's where I find it interesting. I agree with him in terms of this ex gratia thing. It has milked us for quite a while. You've seen the reports, the allocations, the sums of money people get. And the interesting bit about every 4 years, so you've had someone who's been in parliament for 20 years and every 4 years gets ex gratia. Can it be, it could have been a one-off so that after your term in office, but it would have been complicated, isn't it? So maybe the person comes to parliament after 8 years, loses, doesn't contest again, but after another 8 years comes back. Maybe we could say once you pick your ex gratia, you don't get another ex gratia, no matter in what capacity you serve. But I agree in this instance with him that it should be scrapped, but the modalities, others have benefited. You see, some members of parliament would be saying, but others have benefited. Why don't you want me to also? There will be people who will definitely feel that.
No, but there should be
there have been beneficiaries. Why
there should be a point where people will sacrifice their comfort for.
People will ask, why should it be me? Why should I be the one sacrificing?
Well, the point is that did some of us enjoy free senior high school? We didn't, isn't it? But some people are enjoying it today. So yeah, they will ask, but I think that they have to think about the entire nation instead of thinking about what they would enjoy. But yeah, it's a good conversation for us to have. For example, why should it be that after every 4 years, someone will be receiving ex gratia? Is that the same for the judiciary anyway? Ben, is that the same for the judiciary?
Article 71 office holders, yes.
That after every 4 years, they are paid ex gratia?
No, I think it's at the end of their term of office.
But if that's the case, then it means that the guys in the judiciary are being cheated.
Because it is not that after every 4 years. I
do
not, it could be disputed, but that is not my, what I am privy to.
So I think that it should be, like you said, at the end of, when you're leaving parliament. For example, like someone like Oseche Mr. Bonsu, who's been in parliament for all these years, should be receiving it when he decides not to go to parliament again.
Right.
It shouldn't be after every 4 years because there's a lot that goes into it. But again, someone was averting my mind to this or practice that if we decide to then take away the ex gratia, we need to then think about buying them cars and fueling it every day. Is that a practice?
But there are loan arrangements for them already.
But that's for them. But
which
the person,
are not part of the
person was
system. In the judicial system, they also have some allocations made to them.
So it's something that as a nation we need to think about and look at the pros and cons. If we think the cons outweigh the pros, then yes, we need to do away with it because this is a country where we always complain of a school structure somewhere that is collapsing, killing people. We need money to do a lot of things. So if we don't have the resources to continue managing this, let's think about it. Let's discuss it. And as a country, agree that, look, it's time we take it out and make it a one-time payment. That when you've come to Parliament, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4 terms, and you've lost, or you've decided not to come again, then we pay you this lump sum.
But in this instance, he is saying, let go of it altogether. We are not going to do that again. Plus, it brings me to, for example, what football was and what football is now. You remember during the times in 1982 when Abedi Pele was playing in Libya, there was no, in fact, a lot of our players have had promises made to them at some point that were not even kept.
Yeah,
it's in the Fourth Republic that we've really tried to do a bit. Even here, there have been failed promises. So the Abedi Peles and the rest, and for me, those were some of the golden, eras of our football. What did they get, really? Football wasn't that monetized.
Yeah, it wasn't.
But today you have people, we saw what happened in 2014, people kissing money and all of that. So if you are patriotic, look, when you go to Japan and other countries, even here in Africa, people are saying, look, I am in this position or I'm contesting because I feel I have the know-how, I have that capacity, and I can serve my people. Rather than, oh, I want to push and shove to get into this spot because if I do, I'm going to get X amount of money, I'm going to get Y perks, and in the end, I'm going to get Z in ex gratia.
Okay.
I feel there should be some point where, as a nation, we say, you know what, we couch it in such a way that you know that there are not that many benefits in there. If you come, it is rather
you're sacrificing for
a sacrifice. And if you don't want it, you don't go for it. Trust me, if we do it that way, a lot of the people who are pushing and shoving and trying to get into those positions, you see a lot of them fall off. And we'll see the truth in that, because you would know that, look, it's not an avenue for enriching yourself. Yeah. It's a place where you are going to have to serve and actually maybe even sacrifice your own resources.
Do we pay their SNET, like members of parliament?
Oh yeah, definitely. There should be. There shouldn't be, per the law, there shouldn't be anyone who, because this is what they are doing on behalf of the state. So some way, somehow, I do not know the exact.
Okay. So like I said yesterday, I was speaking with someone who was telling me like all of these things, for example, their SNET and whatever. So the thing is that let's look at it, let's spread it, and look at the itemized, content of this whole thing and decide, okay, because of A, B, and C, guys, we're going to take it out. Or because of A, B, and C, we're going to keep it, but we're going to do it just one time payment when you're leaving. Because I think that as a country, we should do things that would be able to manage. Like they say, cut your coat according to your size. You don't do things that you cannot have the money to run, yeah? So if there are things that we decide, we think that we need monies to do, and this every 4 years payment of ex gratia to MPs is not worth it, let's scrap it, really. Maybe we can start from doing it a one-time payment. But entire scrapping off, I think it would meet a lot of stumbling blocks. But yeah, it's something that with commitment we can achieve.
Let's just look at other stories very quickly. There's the supplement on Independence Day that I'll be looking at. But residents want the Commander Sugar Factory operational as soon as possible. That's the KEEA constituency. Use of Ghana card will sanitize voters' register. Majority caucus asserts. I'll take your views on those 2 points. But then looking at the evolution of local currency 66 years after independence, from that independence supplement in the Daily Graphic today. So they take a look at the West African pound, shillings, and pence circulating in the Gold Coast, the currency at independence. And then they look at the currency reform processes in Ghana after independence. Then the second currency reforms, the cedi and the pesewa. Then we also have, the fourth currency reforms, and we can come as far as the seventh currency reforms, redenomination of the cedi in July 2007, which we have held on to for all this while. There are some people who collect money, whether coins or, I've forgotten the technical term. Some of them have a lot. In fact, my own mother has a lot of these from very old eras, including even Nigerian currency. It would be good you grab a copy of the Daily Graphic and take a look at a bit of history and what it has to share with us. But Commander Sugar Factory and then Ghana card sanitizing the voters register, according to the majority. Very quick thoughts on that.
But let me go back to the earlier discussion and just bring this one in. Now, this is by the African Research Consult. It says that Mr. Bagbin said that any entitlement due these public office holders should be outlined in their contract with the state when they serve in office. Quote, as president, I will do away with the whole idea of ex gratia because I don't think that it's serving the purpose for which it was established. It's a complete waste. It's a contract employment and the contract will identify your entitlement, but not ex gratia, end quote. Article 71 and 2 of the 71 clause 1 and 2 of the 1992 Constitution stipulates that the salaries and allowances of the executive, the legislature, and the judiciary paid from the consolidated fund will be determined by the president on the recommendation of a committee of not more than 5 persons appointed by him and acting upon the advice of the Council of State. But I think that the composition of the people who enjoy this is just too broad. The political appointees, even the
for example, the OSP, because of his the rank, okay, in the judicial system. So he falls under Article 71. And I hear even that some of the problems with paying him have had to do with that, where he lies and what his financial expectations are. You get it?
Yeah.
So we have so many people, we hear there are presidential staffers.
Exactly, that's my point.
In there. So it becomes so broad.
Yeah.
Under the executive, for example, but that is also because of the chop, the jobs for the boys and girls. Because I think we could have streamlined it, but because these political parties also come into power, and they want to create all manner of jobs. I mean, look at some of the recent titles, job positions we saw from the Jubilee House. So what are all of those? This for Francophonie, that for Francophonie. What's all that nonsense?
So it's too broad. It's too broad. I mean, if you're going to add political appointees, even if you appoint me to the Flagstaff House and I'm going to take what do you call it, ex gratia at the end of 4 years, I mean, no, it's too broad. We should limit it to some people and look at how we can make it better. But to make it too open, it's problematic. Anyway,
let's make tracks.
But Commander Sugar Factory, look, I wonder why we are still having this discussion about the fact that we have pumped in money to revive that factory.
You remember the Exim Bank?
Yes. I mean, the Mahama government pumped how much? It's $30 million, isn't it?
And interestingly, was it not just last year that Ala Chamanting told us that he would revive the factory?
Even the president went there.
Some other sum of money and everything. I mean, our politicians, the least, I said about
you remember the traditional authority in Commander, Edne Guafo, came to the president. The president assured them that the company was going to be reopened because they've had a strategic investor who is coming to pump in money. Kojo Yanko went there, did some work, and we saw that they were just about wrapping up things. Look at how the thing is.
I remember when, what's his name? Oh, how can that escape me? It's not Jojo Kobina.
Also went there. Yes.
And had his documentary. Look at a facility in which we've pumped, let's say, about $50 million plus dollars in what space of time?
You don't get to understand how we run public, revenue in this country.
Like someone was mentioning who spoke to me the other day. You pump money into Saglemi. You let it rot for whatever reasons. You pump money into this. You let it rot. Look at that.
We are just killing this country for our own parochial interest because you cannot tell me that you've invested $30 million into this and over into this facility, and it's left to be the way it is.
I mean,
what kind of country are we? What kind of people are we?
The least you can do, Kojo, let's say, I'm the bad person. Let's say I was in office. I expended about $20 million into this facility. Maybe the actual cost was about half of that, 10 million. Okay? You can do your due diligence. So let's say you are the good person. You come into office. You can do your due diligence and work on where the loopholes were while still ensuring that at least we get value for the original 10 million that we should have expended by operationalizing this. You remember some of the sugarcane growers.
Does this look like we've invested over $30 million into it?
Well, you can't tell by looking at the outside because technical equipment. I know what I'm telling you about. I've operated in the cashew industry before, for example. Sometimes looking at the outside of the building will not tell you. When you go inside, the equipment you see there, and you know.
But our journalists have been inside. They've been in there and done all of the things.
Whatever
shows that we've really...
Whatever the case may be, I am saying that these sums of money that have been expended, whether it is 100,000, 1 million, 10 million, 30 million, how is the Ghanaian taxpayer getting value for money from this rust bucket? How? How are we getting value for money? Rather, do you know what we're doing? We're bleeding. Because these loans that were contracted, guess whose taxpayers' money will be used to pay for them? The ordinary Ghanaian.
Charlie, this country is, we've messed it up, and I think we should look ourselves in the mirror and tell ourselves that we let this country down. For all the good things or the good goals and visions that the forefathers had, the people who shed their blood to build this country for us, we've let them down big time. Because how are we doing things in this country that we push money into public enterprises and we let them die? We just leave them. Who can tell us why Commander Sugar Factory is the way it is after almost 6 years, right? 6 years of this government. Because when they were, I remember there's this man in Takrade, JHS Kofi. He used to tell me, Kojo, all the things these people are doing, they won't do it. We are here. We will see. And look, this man is being vindicated. Yeah. Because I think we've got to the point where we've learned that these politicians will just tell us anything. They said, oh, why do you put up a factory and forget the raw material? So everybody was thinking that when they come, they would tackle the raw material, but which is why the farmers had been brought on board. You know, now the farmers have gone to apologize to the Akweteshi dealers because they were no longer selling to them, thinking that they were going to sell to government for processing. And now they had to literally go and beg and sell their products cheap to the local gin distillers. But I also have a question on this entire, let me just go back briefly to the Article 71 bit. When former President Mahama says he will scrap it, he has been a beneficiary. And he's still benefiting. On many levels. You know, he's been through the system. From the very basics of governance, through MP, through vice president, through minister, through president, and all of that. I don't know, really. No. I don't. Look, when did he get this epiphany? But well, he's saying, I mean, like he says in the Daily Guide, for example, no family, friends, government ever again, says new Mahama. Though, I mean, and in the previous administration, you know, but the thing is that his spokesperson now, Bawa Mokhtari, Joyce Bawa Mokhtari, was pointed to, though she was a bit of a distant relative. But in this instance, what I find worrying, you know, our politicians are so duplicitous. It's like a snake. You see how the tongue is forked? So, a kasi, not kasi, but it pushes its tongue out. They say one thing, do another, because the last government I expected to engage in anything close to family and friends was this administration, on the back of the things they said. But just look, everywhere you go. And like they say, it's a quadricasi of TND. Once this man has done it, once this man has done it before, the question is, how can we trust that he won't do it again? But he says, believe me now. And the element of trust is what I feel is the most, maybe in terms of political cost, is the one that we have lost the most to. Do you remember a few years ago? Do you know the number of people who sometimes speak to me and say, hey, well, here's what it is. Let's quickly do that. As for Commander, it's a blot on the conscience of all of us. We should try and do something about it. Now, protecting public purse. Okay, I think we've done this, so we'll move on. Ghana card as sole ID for voter registration. Majority back CI says it will sanitize, purify voters register. Chinese delegation visit Accra ahead of March government mission to Beijing, and the special independence anniversary pull out. Now, Ashali Botre School Junction murder accused yet to execute bail bond. Okay, so I think that let me do the one on the new CI. Now it says the majority caucus in Parliament has thrown its weight behind the Electoral Commission's proposed constitutional instrument, which seeks to make the Ghana card the sole document for the purposes of identification and registration as a voter. According to the caucus, the National Identification Authority system that produces the Ghana card was robust and would ensure that only eligible Ghanaians secured the card to enroll onto the voter roll. Ben. So, I mean, all the issues about our voters card being full of, containing some foreigners. Yeah, the Ghana card is something we all agree that contains some specific, data for Ghanaians, isn't it? I don't know why we are making this a whole debate. If we believe that the Ghana card is the document that we're all working towards to become, that one-time document that can contain your driver's license, data, your passport data, and everything. Why must
I'm tired of carrying around my SNIT card, and they took my biometrics how many years ago? You remember?
Yeah,
SNIT.
Yes.
Carrying
that was in 2013 or 14.
I'm tired of carrying all manner of cards. I agree with both sides on this matter, both the minority and the majority.
Okay.
The Ghana card is the future. It's the way to go. And don't you forget, other administrations had tried it. You get it? They were just not able to fully execute it. But my problem, why I also agree with the other side, is can we ensure that anyone who qualifies to get it and who qualifies to vote ahead of 2024 will get it and be able to use it to register to vote? So that is my point.
Okay.
It's the way to go. But how can we ensure, on the back of the $117 million we owe and the promises made by the finance minister? Now, I don't know how you take the promises of the finance minister. I don't take them too seriously, on a rather serious note, because
of
he has proven to me that, I can take whatever he says with a grain of salt. So...
no, but I think, look, once we want to build a system, we should trust the people who've been put in charge and ensure that we police it well. I mean, the NIA is one entity, the Ghana card especially, I think is something that will help all of us if we are able to utilize its benefit fully.
Right.
We just have to ensure that things move. But, well, it's a debate we need to have, but let's ensure that we cut the too much, debating to ensure how can the system be effectively implemented. And let's move on. But there's this editorial in the Ghanaian Times which is good. It says, Stop cheating in land acquisition. One of our major headaches as a country.
Has been.
Yeah, that's where they base their editorial.
I think the Amakum Hene, there was a land issue.
Land acquisition
and he
in
ruled
Ghana.
in favor of the private citizen against the Amakum Hene. I think the Bantama Hene also.
Look, land acquisition in Ghana is so terrible, especially in Greater Accra, with what I've seen. It's just terrible. It needs to change. Because people cannot even trust that they can get their lands when they buy them.
But there's something else, not just land grabbing by political forces themselves.
No.
Look, you go to a place like Roman Ridge and other places, I'll tell you, state assets and everything, all gone.
Privatize them.
Gone.
Okay.
When I say gone, I mean gone. You can go and investigate, and I know what I am saying. It said that when a blind man says he will stone you,
he knows.
He has his foot.
Yeah, on something.
Trust me. Okay. And the way party in, party out, state assets are captured, sold, made to benefit individuals. I shudder for this country. We may wake up one day and realize that, we actually have no clothes on. Our leaders have sold the very clothes on our backs. The Daily Guide newspaper, NDC peddling lies on EC. There's also, like I said, no family friends government again, says New Mahama. Otumfuo calls for clean campaign if you're going to do this campaign in the appropriate manner. 250 motor riders arrested and Registrar General exposes Ablakwa. Let me quickly go to page 6 and then I'll come and do some international stories. So 250 motor riders arrested in a new offensive against motorbike riders in discipline, especially those who jump red lights at traffic intersections. The Ghana Police Service has arrested over 250 motorbike riders, and that definitely a step in the right direction. Also, 12 cybercrime suspects arrested. That story we've been looking at. I just want to take a quick look at some international stories. You followed the Greek train crash, right?
Yeah.
Deadly, 46 people now killed. It was initially 32. Rail workers across Greece have begun a one-day strike after Tuesday's train crash, which killed at least 46 people. Pain has turned into anger for the dozens of dead and wounded colleagues and fellow citizens, the workers' union said in a statement. The walkout follows protests in Athens, Thessaloniki, and the city of Larissa near the site of the disaster. Do you know what I find interesting about the Greek event? The minister in charge, do you know what? Shortly after the event, resigned. The station master
resigned.
No, he's been charged with manslaughter.
Okay.
Systems work. Here, we have a shortage of vaccines. Yesterday, I was engaging the Tamale North MP, Al-Hassan Suini. In his place, there's an outbreak of measles, not just in Tamale, Greater Tamale, other areas within the northern belt. And our health minister is unfazed. And this is even worse, excruciating, on the back of what happened with COVID-19 and accountability. So you see the gap in our thinking, in our effectiveness and efficiency, and how seriously we take the work we do. People feel they are tied to the work, almost as though if they were not there, the work wouldn't go on. It will definitely go on. You'll get someone who is either better than you or less good, but whatever be the case, the work will go on. We'll prove we won Nigeria election. Peter Obi says so. I heard this loud and clear yesterday, and that means they are taking the matter to court. Let's wrap with a few more stories.
Anyway, the finder Akufo-Addo congratulates Nigeria's president-elect Bola Tinubu. So on the back of what Peter will be saying, 2023 Hajj fare pegged at 75,000 cedis. It comes with a picture of Ben Abdullah Banda. NDC NPP clash over ECCI to use Ghana card as sole identification for registration. I'll scrap as gratia for members of the executive. That's according to former President John Dramani Mahama.
I have a comment coming through. So this one says, Idrisu Issa is responding to something I said about, so former President Mahama, he has also benefited from ex gratia. And now I think mostly the bit about no family friends government again, says New Mahama in the Daily Guide. He says, so what is wrong if he now says he will change it when giving the nod? You know, the problem with our politicians is, or the people, once bitten,
twice shy.
So sometimes, who will be BR?
Yeah,
because you may not have the opportunity.
And
that's the trust issue.
Yeah, and he should understand that you're coming from a point of view of, well, politicians say A and do B.
Exactly.
That's why you are.
I'm not faulting him as though he were alone. I'm just saying that generally there are credibility issues. The Daily Statesman? Just look at the headlines. Let me also look at these headlines.
Akufo-Addo optimistic about deepened Ghana-Nigeria relations, evolution of the local currency 66 years after independence. Majority support EC on use of Ghana card for continuous voter registration. Daku Mensa, that's the Western Regional Minister, Takrady PTC interchange will be completed. NPP takes on Mahama. And the interchange, when I go to Takrady in the night, I just love what I see. Unfortunately, it's hanging. Let's see what we can do to complete it.
The Ghanaian publisher, My Final Newspaper, minority confused about new CI. Majority leader says so. Boku crisis, Kusal youth accuse NDC of hypocrisy. Mahama promises to scrap ex gratia. Court stops Opebia House car park project, and ICAMS shuts down for maintenance. So what I was looking for in terms of a collector of money, whether cotton money or paper money, or especially coins, is a numismatist. I knew I had it in my mind, but I wasn't sure. And the study of it is, is numismatics. So that is it. Someone who collects money, coins and all of that, especially coins, is a numismatist.
Okay.
And the practice or that field is numismatics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, man.
Hey.
Anyway,
Ben, the English teacher.
So let's just let you know that this segment, the news review, is brought to you by Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic. We're offering free prostate screening and free female fertility screening. Locate us in Accra, Spintex, opposite the Shell signboard. Kumasi, Kronuma, here behind the Angel Educational Complex. Takrady and Ajay State, Tema Community 22, Techiman Hansua, and the Siaman Zima. You can reach us on 0244 867 068 or 0274 234 321. Endpoint Homeopathic Clinic, the end to chronic disease. Well, we take a bit of a break and return with, you know what, sports. Do stay with us. I will take a break.